Part 1. Fractured Alliances and Dangerous Attachments. Winter's heart opens not with triumphant momentum, but with tension simmering beneath fragile alliances. The world is locked in winter, unnaturally prolonged by the Dark One's growing influence, and the cold serves as both literal hardship and symbolic stagnation. The dragon reborn, Rand al'Thor, now ruling Ilion and bound to multiple political commitments, finds that victory in battle has not brought clarity. Instead, it has multiplied his vulnerabilities. Rand's rule in Ilion is precarious. Though he wears the crown of swords and has secured nominal allegiance from various rulers, political stability remains elusive. Assassination attempts are frequent, conspiracies persistent. The nobility watch him warily, torn between fear and reluctant obedience. The Dragon Reborn's authority rests as much on prophecy and raw power as on diplomacy. Rand, hardened by betrayal, increasingly relies on intimidation and calculated displays of strength. His demeanor has grown colder, more remote. He trusts few people fully, and even among those closest to him, there are barriers. His internal struggle continues to intensify. The voice of Lews Therin Telamon, once sporadic, now intrudes into Rand's consciousness with alarming regularity. Lews Therin's memories are fragmented but vivid, echoes of a lost age filled with grandeur and catastrophe. Rand wrestles with the fear that these are not merely intrusive memories, but signs of encroaching madness from the taint on saidin. Yet paradoxically, Lews Therin's knowledge sometimes provides insight, especially concerning ancient weaves and lost artifacts. Rand walks a razor's edge. The very source of his strength threatens to destroy his sanity. One of the most consequential developments early in the novel involves Rand's complex romantic entanglements. His relationships with Min Farshaw, Elaine Trakand, and Aviendha reach a new level of commitment and honesty. Rather than continuing a triangle or rivalry between the three women, they come to an unprecedented arrangement. Each acknowledges love for Rand, and rather than competing, they agree to share him. This unconventional bond reflects the extraordinary circumstances of prophecy and destiny. For Rand, the emotional anchor they provide is both comfort and liability. He fears that anyone close to him becomes a target for the shadow. Min, in particular, remains at Rand's side in Ilion. Her viewings, flashes of prophetic insight, offer glimpses of possible futures. Though often cryptic, they reinforce the inevitability of certain events and deepen Rand's sense of approaching confrontation. Min's presence humanizes him, but it also reminds him that time is running short. Prophecy does not bend easily. Meanwhile, the Ashaman of the Black Tower continue to grow in strength. Their training progresses rapidly under Mazrim Time's leadership. Though outwardly loyal, Time's authority within the Black Tower has expanded to the point that Rand senses something unsettling. The men who channel are weapons forged in urgency, lacking the traditions that guide the Aes Sedai. Their camaraderie is bound by danger and ambition. Rand recognizes that while he created the Black Tower as a necessary counterbalance to the White Tower, it may become something he cannot fully control. Elsewhere, Mat Cauthon finds himself entangled in Seanchan politics after the events in Abu Dar. The Seanchan remain a formidable presence, and Mat's survival depends on careful maneuvering within their rigid and alien culture. Though his storyline initially appears separate from Rand's broader plans, it steadily converges with the central tension of the novel. Mat's irreverence and tactical brilliance are tested against an empire that brooks no dissent. As the first movement of the novel unfolds, The sense of gathering inevitability becomes palpable. Alliances are fragile, loyalties uncertain, and winter deepens. The dragon reborn, though powerful, stands amid shifting ground. Part 2. The Black Tower and the Seeds of Rebellion. As political maneuvering continues in Ilion, attention turns more fully toward the Black Tower. Rand travels there, compelled by both responsibility and unease. The transformation of ordinary men into channelers is proceeding at a pace unprecedented in history. These men, once feared or hunted, now train openly in preparation for the last battle. Yet the cost of that transformation is steep. The Black Tower has developed a culture of harsh discipline and martial efficiency. Mazrim Time exerts control with calculated authority. He fosters loyalty to himself as much as to Rand. While the Ashaman refer to Rand as their leader, daily life and training revolve around Time's command. This subtle shift in allegiance troubles Rand deeply. During his visit, Rand encounters Ashaman who exhibit both remarkable strength and signs of instability. The taint on saidin affects them all, though at varying rates. Some display early symptoms of paranoia or erratic behavior. Others cling to discipline and camaraderie as bulwarks against madness. The Black Tower is both hope and powder keg. Rand's interactions with Time are charged with unspoken rivalry. Each man measures the other carefully. Rand senses that Time possesses secrets, perhaps even hidden ambitions. Yet confronting him directly could fracture the Black Tower at a critical moment. For now, Rand chooses watchfulness over open conflict. Parallel to these tensions, political intrigue in Far Madding becomes central to the narrative. Rand travels there under dangerous circumstances. Far Madding is unique among cities. It possesses a ter'angreal that prevents channeling within its boundaries. For a man who has come to rely on saidin not only as a weapon but as a shield, this represents extreme vulnerability. Rand's decision to enter Far Madding without the protection of the One Power reflects both necessity and calculated risk. He seeks to draw out one of the Forsaken, specifically Samael's lingering influence and the threat of other hidden enemies. Without access to saidin, Rand must rely on swordsmanship, cunning, and allies. The tension is palpable. Every confrontation carries heightened stakes because his usual overwhelming advantage is nullified. In Far Madding, Rand faces assassination attempts and political hostility. He is forced to navigate a society that views male channelers with deep suspicion. The city's strict laws and unique ter'angreal create a chessboard environment in which raw power cannot determine outcomes. Rand's survival depends on adaptability. Eventually, conflict erupts within Far Madding's restricted zone. Rand confronts enemies without the One Power, drawing instead on martial skill and the presence of allies such as Lan Mandragoran. The sequence underscores Rand's dual nature, not merely a channeler but a trained warrior. Though he emerges victorious, the encounter reinforces the precariousness of his position. The Black Tower's unresolved tensions and Far Madding's peril converge thematically. Rand cannot rely solely on force. Control is elusive. Authority must be constantly renegotiated. Part 3. Shanshan Intrigues and Mat's Gamble. While Rand wrestles with political instability and internal threats, Mat Cawthon's storyline in Shanshan-controlled territory gains prominence. Mat remains one of the series' most pragmatic and unpredictable figures. His memories of past generals, implanted by the Finn, grant him unparalleled tactical insight. Yet against the Shanshan, conventional warfare is complicated by cultural rigidity and domain channelers. Mat's entanglement with Tuon, the daughter of the Nine Moons, becomes central. Through a mixture of accident, prophecy, and boldness, Mat captures Tuon. Yet rather than treating her simply as a hostage, their interactions evolve into a strange courtship marked by verbal sparring and mutual curiosity. Tuon, raised within a culture of absolute hierarchy, finds Mat baffling but intriguing. Mat, for his part, struggles to reconcile his irreverence with the reality that he is destined, by prophecy, to marry her. Their relationship reflects larger thematic tensions between freedom and control. The Xianshan system of domain, which enslaves channelers, stands in stark moral contrast to Rand's goals. Yet Tuon does not perceive her culture as cruel. She sees it as necessary and righteous. Mat's growing affection for her complicates his stance toward the Xianshan Empire. Mat's eventual marriage to Tuon marks a pivotal development. Though initially bound by prophecy and political calculation, the union carries potential to reshape future conflicts. By marrying the daughter of the Nine Moons, Mat positions himself uniquely between cultures. He becomes both outsider and insider. Meanwhile, Egwene Alver's efforts to reunify the White Tower continue in parallel. Though not yet resolved, her steady consolidation of authority among the rebel Aes Sedai progresses. Her leadership contrasts sharply with Elyda's paranoia in Tar Valon. The schism remains unhealed, but Egwene's vision grows clearer. Unity must precede the last battle. As this section concludes, multiple threads tighten. Rand faces enemies within and without. Mat's marriage alters geopolitical alignments. The Xianshan remain a looming force. Winter deepens across the land, reflecting the Dark One's tightening grip. Part 4. The Conception of the Cleansing. By the time Rand al'Thor resolves to cleanse Saidin, the decision has been gestating within him for far longer than he has allowed anyone to see. It is not born in a single moment of inspiration, but in accumulated dread. Every time he channels, he feels the oily taint sliding across his mind like rancid water over steel. Every time Lews Therin's voice erupts unbidden in his thoughts, alternately weeping, raving, or whispering secrets, Rand understands that the cost of inaction is not merely personal. If the Dragon Reborn succumbs to madness before Tarmangaidon, the last battle may be lost before it truly begins. Yet his reasoning is not entirely driven by fear. Rand's understanding of prophecy and balance has deepened. He knows that the Dark One's counterstroke at the end of the War of Power corrupted Saidin as revenge, ensuring that male channelers would destroy the world they sought to protect. The breaking of the world remains the greatest catastrophe in living memory, its scars still etched into geography and culture. So long as Saidin remains tainted, any army of male channelers, even one raised for the light, will carry within it the seed of inevitable ruin. Rand cannot afford to win the last battle only to trigger another breaking. The key to his plan lies in knowledge inherited from Lews Therin and in artifacts long buried in the earth. The Choedan Kal, paired sangreal of unimaginable strength, were constructed in the Age of Legends as weapons capable of reshaping continents. Their sheer magnitude dwarfs all other Angreal known in the current age. Rand has already used the male Choedan Kal once, to devastating effect against the Seanchan. That experience left him shaken. The amount of the one power flowing through him had nearly burned him out, overwhelming even his hardened control. Yet that same experience proved that the Choedan Kal could channel power sufficient to attempt something no one had dared since the Dark One first touched the world. Rand's insight, however, involves more than brute strength. He realizes that the taint itself is not identical to the Dark One. It is a corruption layered onto Saidin, like poison mixed into clear water. Removing it requires more than filtering. It requires drawing it out entirely. Here, Shadar Logoth becomes central to his thinking. The ruined city, born of paranoia and hatred during the Trolloc Wars, harbors a malevolence entirely separate from the Dark One. The evil of Shadar Logoth, embodied in Mashadar and later in Padan Fain's transformation, is an aberration, a human-born corruption that resists even the shadow. Rand's plan is both elegant and terrifying in its audacity. He will use the Chuedan Kal to draw the taint from Saidin and funnel it into Shadar Logoth. The two evils, one born of the Dark One, the other of twisted human hatred, will annihilate each other. It is a theory grounded in the idea that opposing corruptions cannot coexist indefinitely. Like acids mixed together, they will consume one another. To accomplish this, Rand cannot act alone. He needs a partner strong enough in Saidar to help form the conduit and maintain balance. He chooses Nynaeve Almayara. Her strength in the power is formidable, rivaling that of the strongest Aes Sedai in centuries. More importantly, she possesses an iron will and an unwavering loyalty to him. Nynaeve has always resisted the notion that some wounds are permanent. Where others accept inevitability, she searches for cures. In this sense, she is uniquely suited to the task of healing Saidin. The preparations are meticulous and cloaked in secrecy. Rand understands that the Forsaken will sense the surge of the Chuedan Kal. Every male and female channeler of sufficient strength will feel it. The act itself will be like lighting a bonfire in the night sky of the pattern. Therefore, Rand arranges defenses. A small but formidable circle of allies positions themselves around Shadar Logoth, prepared to hold off any who attempt to disrupt the cleansing. When Rand and Nynaeve link through the Chuedan Kal, the sensation is overwhelming even before the cleansing begins in earnest. The sheer volume of the One power pouring through them threatens to obliterate their sense of self. Rand's perception expands outward, vast and blinding. He feels the river of Saidin in its entirety, its grandeur, its violence, and its corruption. The taint is thicker at this scale, a roiling darkness clinging to every current. Then the cleansing begins. Rand forces the tainted flow through the conduit they have constructed, directing it toward Shadar Logoth. The process is not smooth. The taint resists, clinging like tar. Drawing it out requires relentless focus and endurance. Nynaeve anchors the weave, stabilizing the structure so that the torrent does not break free and devastate the surrounding lands. Across the world, channelers stop in shock. The surge of the One power is so immense that it eclipses everything else. The Forsaken react first, recognizing both the source and the threat. They converge on Shadar Logoth with speed and fury. They may not fully grasp Rand's plan, but they understand that something catastrophic or transformative is underway. The cleansing continues, minute after minute, stretching into hours. Rand's consciousness hovers at the brink of dissolution. Lews Theron's voice screams in terror and ecstasy, recognizing both the scale of what is happening and the risk of annihilation. Rand cannot afford to falter. If he loses control for even an instant, the resulting backlash could shatter the continent. Part 5. The Battle at Shadar Logoth and the Aftermath of Purity. While Rand and Nynaeve remain locked in the monumental act of cleansing, the Forsaken attack. What follows is not a single duel, but a sprawling confrontation among some of the most powerful channelers alive. The defenders, Ashaman, Aes Sedai, and other allies, must hold their ground against enemies who have survived since the age of legends. The battle unfolds in waves of fire and lightning. Weaves of balefire slash across the ruined city. Explosions rip through stone structures long abandoned to decay. The Forsaken, driven by desperation and ambition, hurl themselves at the defenders. Each seeks not only to stop the cleansing, but also to eliminate rivals. Their alliances are brittle, their cooperation temporary. The defenders fight with grim determination. Ashaman unleash destructive weaves with ruthless efficiency. Aes Sedai coordinate shields and counterattacks. The scale of the engagement rivals any battle since the breaking. Yet throughout the chaos, Rand and Nynaeve remain at the center, immobile and exposed. If either is struck, the cleansing could collapse catastrophically. Within Shadar Logoth itself, the process reaches its crescendo. The taint, now drawn into concentrated form, collides with the city's own corruption. The reaction is violent and absolute. The two evils consume one another in a conflagration that defies comprehension. Structures dissolve into light and shadow. The ground trembles. For a moment, it seems as though reality itself might tear open. Then, abruptly, the surge diminishes. The torrent of Sidon subsides to its normal flow. The conduit collapses. Shadar Logoth is gone, erased as though it had never stood. In its place lies only desolation and silence. Rand, exhausted beyond measure, tentatively reaches for Sidon once more. He braces himself for the familiar sensation of filth coating the power. But it does not come. Sidene is clear, pure. The oily taint is absent. The realization dawns slowly, then all at once. The corruption that has plagued male channelers for 3,000 years is gone. The Forsaken, stunned and battered, withdraw. They understand the magnitude of what has occurred. The balance of power has shifted irrevocably. The Dark One's ancient counterstroke has been undone, not by divine intervention, but by mortal audacity. In the aftermath, Rand's reaction is complex. There is triumph, yes, but also profound fatigue. Cleansing Sidon does not erase the madness already seated in men who have channeled for years. It does not undo the breaking. It does not end the war against the shadow, yet it changes the future. Male channelers are no longer doomed by default. The Black Tower's purpose transforms overnight from desperate necessity to enduring force. For Rand personally, the cleansing brings a fragile sense of relief. The voice of Lews Therin remains, but the ever-present threat of accelerating madness recedes. He has bought himself time to prepare for the last battle, time to unify nations, time to confront the Forsaken on more equal footing. Winter's heart closes not with fanfare, but with stunned quiet. The world does not yet fully understand what has been accomplished. But every channeler who touches Sidon knows. The river runs clean. The dragon reborn has achieved what was once thought impossible. Yet as always, victory carries consequence. The Dark One will not remain passive in the face of such defiance. The pattern tightens. The last battle draws nearer. And for the first time since the breaking of the world, the light possesses a weapon uncorrupted by its own source of strength.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos.